Comedy Jonah. Hi.
Yay! We're here! What a week! What a week!
Where? What a week for Big Brother. What a week. What a world. What a
What a week.
world. Not
What
the
a world,
Wicked
what a week,
Witch.
what a week, what a world.
What a week. What a world. What a shocking. I don't want to bury the lead. Well, here's what I'll say first to everyone, John, because I know you love a good acting out. Wherever you guys are watching, make sure that you follow, like, and subscribe. Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of those places. Make sure that you're following, sharing our shows. It's a great way to help support the shows, as is sharing them, because sharing is caring. Put it in your favorite Facebook group, tell a family member, a friend. Again, it's what keeps these shows going. You can also become a patron, yourrealityrecaps.com/patron. John is doing a cooking show tonight, I heard. Surprise cooking show. I posted the interview with Jess and
Ugh.
Tanisha there for the patrons, so that's up for you guys as well. I have to say, we often get in a PR trouble. Like, I'm often in trouble and in need of sending cookie baskets to PR. And this time, I have breaking news. You know how I'm horrible on email?
Yes.
So PR sent an email saying, hey, so sorry, you can only interview one of the people this week. But you know like how I'm horrible with email? So I
Yeah.
didn't get that email. So my negligence worked out well because they said, Eric, you didn't get our email. You didn't respond. It doesn't matter. We'll just give you both.
Yay!
Yay for negligence.
Yay for negligence, because we want our interviews.
And I gotta say, Jess gave me a surprise. And I feel kind of bad about not saying I was not that much of a Jess fan this season. Just imagine if I was like, oh, I'm not a big John fan. I don't really care for John. John's just not my cup of tea. And then I came into the show with you and you're like, oh my God, I love you. I love you so much. And I'm, okay, well, I feel like garbage.
You should. You should.
Well, they also love you, just so you know. They told me to say hello to you.
Oh my
They love
gosh.
you.
I love them both. I loved your Kyle interview. I was watching that. I really, him addressing kind of his whole journey with mental illness and talking about his own on the interview with you, I thought was great. I thought it explained a lot of his decision making in that HOH week with him. So good job.
It did. Thanks,
Good job.
buddy. Now we need to talk about this past week.
We do. We do.
We do. I mean, do we? Really just want to talk about double eviction. But no, we can obviously start at the beginning of the week, of course. Did you like the outcome of this week overall?
No.
Really?
No.
I mean,
Did I like the outcome of who was evicted, the two evictees?
Yeah.
No. My Jess was evicted. No.
I feel like I have to say that I'm unhappy now too, even though I was thrilled.
You saw my comment in the Patreon group when you were asking for questions. And I was like, no. Of course, it was a spoiler for me because I always see the shows the next day. So I was just like, I don't want to see it yet. So.
Well, I'm sure it was worse than you imagined.
I'm happy about that.
Okay.
It's
okay.
worse.
Well, I guess let's start with the beginning. What a week for, Jess from start to finish. Yeah. So, we started the week out with Jess as HOH. Winning that running around to all the doors. Let me see what house guest is here. Ooh, it's Godfrey. Ooh, it's Cindy. Ooh, it's this. I thought it was fun to have them kind of in their poses, recreating their moments.
I loved it. Jetson looked really good. I agree with Summer. Jetson was looking pretty suave and dressed up with the briefcase. It was great to see Victoria. I saw her with her, because she was pretty explosive in her season. Cindy with an S. Yeah, yeah, Cindy with an S.
Okay, nobody calls Victoria Victoria. We call her Spicy V. And yes,
Spicy.
I
Yes.
loved my Spicy V. I loved seeing them all. Yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, Cindy, whatever. I guess it's just all the local people got invited.
It was the local people, yes. Like I wanted like a Suzanne, who I believe lives on the west coast of Canada. So she's by me, and I follow her on social media. She's Indigenous, and I wanted to see her. I wanted to see some kind of older players, and
Yeah.
older seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I,
And Godfrey. Oh gosh, I can't. I love Godfrey. I fell in love with Godfrey the moment we were covering it. I think that was the last time we were in Canada, right? When we were in the Big Brother house, was Godfrey's season in
I think
2017.
so.
Yeah.
I think so. No, I
But
feel like we had to do one after that. I mean, they haven't had it in the past two. They haven't had
yeah,
anything since COVID. So, and I don't know that they're
right.
having it this year either. I mean, they're not having an audience. And the fact that they're not having an audience makes me think they're not gonna have people either. But that being said, they have had people in the house, but then again, they had them behind glass. So I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. I guess PR is gonna let us know.
Like an aquarium. A
Yeah,
BB10
just put us in
aquarium. A
an
BB.
just put us behind the glass doors.
I
I
just wanted
want
to
door.
feed Jetson and Godfrey. Just feed them. So there you go.
Like, look, you and Summer can have Jetson all you want. Don't know if you're aware that
Mm.
Gino exists.
He does, but yeah, between Gino and Josh all the way. Come on. He's a doctor. Hello, Gino's great. He's a firefighter. That's a fling. That's a summer fling. Josh is forever. Josh is who you marry.
I
Yeah,
agree with you, but
not
Josh
getting
also
all
saved Betty.
getting
Josh
all
saved
the.
Betty. Hello, you love Jess, and Josh saved Betty.
What's up with that? I couldn't believe Kevin didn't save Helena. I think he's going to get in trouble with that this coming week.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Courtney says Gino can put out a good fire. Yeah, he can.
Yeah,
Uh,
for the summer, and
for the
then,
summer.
but forever it's Josh. It's I
He could also.
do.
I also
I
have a
do.
feeling he. I also have a feeling he could give you a fire down there.
Mm. He
Um,
could treat you for a fire. Josh could. Gino could light you on fire, but Josh could
treat
fix
you
you,
for the fire. He
treat
could.
you
He
for
could
the fire.
definitely. He
Yeah.
could definitely treat us. So what? You were pretty annoyed in the beginning of the week. You were sick of people saying they have to shake up the house. You didn't like it. You're annoyed with it. You're like, I'm sick of it. You don't even
Oh,
remember
the
that you were so
expression.
mad.
The
Yes,
expression. Oh, I just need to shake up this house. Honey, the house was shook already. It's like,
it
what is going?
shooketh.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, as I was watching the episodes this week, I think it's funny because with the US BB House, I'm all about the alliance maps, right? I'm just looking at them, see how they're aligned. I'm not so much with Canada because, even though they're in alliances, they really all play a really good individual game, which I think is interesting. Like they're all really focused on that. They're showing their cards everywhere and they're dancing during their being nominations. So
I
yeah,
I think it matters when it matters. I think, in other words, I think you need the alliance charts when it matters, but I agree with you.
right.
I don't know that the alliance charts matter so much.
For
Like, yes, it's
Canada.
good to know. And of course, you can check out our live feed updaters at BB Live Updaters on Twitter to check those out.
Yeah.
It's good to know, but they're not, I don't really see anyone sticking die hard to their alliances because, no one
Yeah.
came through for Tanisha this week, despite being in an alliance of 7. Or
Right. Or the
Kyle,
siblings. You turn
or
on
the
your siblings,
siblings.
apparently. You turn on your siblings.
I don't know. It seems just like my siblings, honestly, these days.
I
It seems
do.
like just like them. Um, let's talk because you brought it up about, Herman going on the block earlier in the week. So, we saw Jess, they put up Herman and Moose, and it caused quite a bit of drama. Now, Jess stands by the fact that
Yeah.
they put Herman and Moose up out of respect to say, hey, I'm giving you a chance to fight, and then it got all spun out into the drama that we saw play out. What are your thoughts on all of that drama with that whole situation?
I understood what they were doing.
Mhm.
I understand them giving them each a shot to play the POV, even
Mhm.
though either one of them, they were fine with getting out of the house. I
Mhm.
thought we saw some true colors, especially with Harmon. I don't know if maybe he's not an ally with the LGBTQ plus community. He just seemed very put off with Jess from the beginning. They were a target early on, where you've got, and then you got that whole head bro, and that just gets kind of tired. Even though I was giving him a pass a little bit, but the way I saw him with Jess this week, I wasn't that happy with. But then you've got a Moose who it can fit in that hey bro group, but Moose is super sensitive. Moose has charisma. Moose, can go from all different alliances. So I didn't like what I saw with Harmon this week, even to the very end in the double eviction.
I mean, are we saying we're surprised that we don't like a used car salesman?
He was very used car salesman this week. I feel I just didn't like his attitude the whole way. You saw Jess come in and talk to him when he was trying to memorize the wall of products with prices on them in the pantry room, I believe. And they tried to have a moment with him. He says, "Oh, they offered me an olive branch and I stomped on it. Oh, burp. You did stomp on it, Herman. You have been an absolute ass to Jess this whole week,
I
and it really
agree.
showed." Yeah.
Herman has been
But
a
I like
huge ass to Jess.
Tool.
I completely agree with that. So, I mean, I guess I was going to ask you where you stood on the whole celebratory dance and celebrating winning POV and what they did during the nomination ceremony. Jess felt
Yeah,
it was all very disrespectful. So, we're on board with this.
absolutely. And doesn't even care about their feelings, right? So that was super disappointing. It showed really Herman's a tool he's a tool who sells cars.
But here's the thing. And I'm not giving Herman a pass on this because I don't
Because I'll take the
I do
pass.
think I think it was rude. I definitely think it was rude. But here's
Super
my
rude.
thing. Here's my thing. I feel, and I say this every year, I feel like BB Can is a show where they have to keep drilling into these people's heads. We're making a TV show. We need you to play this up. We need you. Remember when they had meetings last year and people are eating popcorn in the background and doing all this? I really feel like I don't. I want to believe that Herman wasn't necessarily doing it to be mean to Jess. I think he was just trying to make entertaining TV. Unfortunately, he is not smart enough to realize that if you're the only one doing it, it does not look good, especially when the other person is, presenting themselves as I am a representative for the queer community and I have been bullied and ostracized and yada. And then you're going and doing it all, and they're just sitting there and not playing back with you.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that with you. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the pass I will give Harmon. He, is crap as he's talked about Jess. he always uses the correct pronouns. And
Yes.
that, I think, is very interesting. Moose doesn't. All of these, hey, bro, I'm a bro, I'm a bro. You know, that tool kind of talk, social thing, I
Wait.
hate. But they're all using the correct pronouns for Jess. So I think that's a really good. I give Herman that. But that's about
Well,
it this week.
yes,
Yeah.
Herman did. Moose did not when he was having his argument. You know, they didn't really play that out into the full extent that we saw it
Mm.
on the feeds when Moose and
Oh,
Betty and Jess were all talking. There was a moment when Moose was like, blah, 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 she, and Jess
well, her
turned
pronouns
around
are
to him.
they and she, right?
Well, you know, it's odd. At the beginning of the season, Jess did say that they were fine being called they or she. However, as the season went on, Jess has said she only wants to be called they. So I don't know. I'm
Okay.
very confused on how it goes, whatever. But that Jess did kind of snap at Moose, and she's like, "My pronouns are they them."
Oh,
In that whole Betty and Moose and Jess conversation, because Moose
yeah.
did call Jess her, and Jess did not appreciate that. But I feel like I don't know it. You know, I don't
Well, I
agree
mean,
that.
also, too, I think, you got to give people a break, especially, I've
Yes,
got friends who have updated their pronouns and I respect it and I get it. But, I grew up differently. It takes me a while. I'm doing the best I can. And I think that, when you want this and you update your pronouns, you have to give some leniency for the mooses,
yes.
for the Jonas who will slip up and be like, finish your thought. By the way, my pronouns are they and them. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to
No,
give
I'm the
a
same.
little bit of wiggle room.
And I think most people do. I think Jess was just doing that to,
Yeah.
just they, see, were upset. But yeah, I do the same exact thing. I don't think you can expect people who have spent 40 years of their lives saying she and he. It's like breathing.
Who's
It's
40?
not conscious. And yeah, I think people have to just give people a little bit of a break. But I think they are. I have yet to really see a person in that scenario really attacking someone who makes a mistake.
Yeah, but I also see them really respecting it. And even though Herman was very toolish this week in the Big Brother house, especially how him and Jess were kind of going back and forth and stomping the olive branch, he used the correct pronouns even when they were not in the room, like just talking to the camera or talking to Moose or talking to someone
Yeah.
else. He used the correct pronouns, and I thought that's amazing. So
Yeah. I mean,
just
it's
when I was gonna
progress.
just when I was gonna throw Herman out of my thoughts, that brought him back in. I thought,
Well, did
that's
you
a
hear
level of
that?
respect.
Well, did you hear that he updated his pronouns?
What are his pronouns?
Douche and bag.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, douche and bag. Yeah.
I saw that. I retweeted it.
Yeah. So now now he's a douchebag. Yeah. Uh, I thought the whole thing was weird. Betty, look, I have the same stance on Betty that I have every single week.
Petty Betty.
Petty Betty, again, I love a Petty Betty. I love a crazy psychotic Betty. But if you people want to keep pretending like Betty is playing this game well, you're all off your rockers. She's probably one of the worst players I've ever seen. Now, that being said, super entertaining, and I don't know how I missed this. She's a human resources person? Could you imagine being like, I'm having trouble at work. I want to go talk to Betty. She'll rip your fucking head off. She'll probably put it on a stake outside the door.
No, she won't rip your head off. If you go to Petty Betty, HR representative, and you say,
I would like to be the
you
person
say,
coming.
Dr. Dr. Feldman was touching my leg inappropriately, she would get up and go right to Dr. Feldman and confront him because she
Yes.
can't shut her mouth,
Would you like to
which
be
is
Betty?
not which is not a good quality as an HR representative. You have to keep these things quiet. You have to document stuff.
Yes. Would
I don't see
would you
her keeping a secret like that. That's her thing in the house. Anything you tell Betty, she explodes and goes on to that person, which you can use
Yes.
to your advantage. But it's not a good tool for your job as an HR rep.
Now would you like to be Betty?
Yes, I'll be Betty. Wait, do I have glasses? Oh, I've got
Okay.
these glasses. That's it.
Okay, you can be Betty. Okay, there you go. Oh, you're like a Sarah Beth Betty.
I'm a Sarah
Hi.
Beth Betty.
Okay. Hi Betty.
What can I do for you?
Having a problem with one of my managers.
What's your problem?
Well, he is making me do things that I don't appreciate.
Like what? What is he doing?
He makes me rub his feet.
I'll be right back. What's the
I for
manager? Wait, what's the manager's name?
Arissa.
Arissa.
No, I
Okay,
no,
I'll be right
I
back. And where's Arissa Cox? Is she right there, Arissa?
yeah, that is what that I
Stop feeling everybody out. All right,
now I
you
wish
have
I didn't
anything else?
say Arissa. I wish I didn't say Arissa now because I wanted to say I forgot to tell you I was naked while rubbing the feet. He makes me do it naked. Not Arissa. The joke's dead. I've killed the
The
joke.
wrong pronouns for Arissa.
The joke is dead. The joke is dead. I've killed it.
My performance was so good it threw you, right? Is that what
It
you're
did.
saying?
It's what
Okay.
it threw me. Twitter loves Betty. Twitter will murder you if you come for Betty in any way. And
Penny
I mean, I
Betty?
get it. I love Betty. Well, I just don't get people that can't operate in reality. Like, again, no one will understand the fact that I'm saying I love Betty because I
Oh no.
love that she's batshit crazy. Just,
I'm
let's not call her a
upset.
good game player.
I'm upset that we're not going because I think Betty would be amazing to be at the finale party with. I think she'd be fun to do shots with and hang out. I think socially she's hilarious. Even in the game, I think, there's moments where it just cracks me up because, things like, come on, Canada, I need this save. I need to be safe. Like,
I just want to tell Betty, like, fake things. Like, when we interview Betty, I just want to tell her, like, Betty, so did you know that, Josh was really trying to get you out the whole time? And I just want to watch her head be like, I have to go yell at him! And just, like,
but
storm
I
out
need
of
you
the
to
interview.
Betty, Josh was trying to get you up, but I need you to keep that between us.
Yeah, just between us, Betty. I know a few secrets that I'm not supposed to tell you. She's gonna explode. I like Betty. I love a
Yeah.
batshit crazy Betty. And again, like we just saw it. Jess is like, please don't tell anyone. 5 seconds later, Betty in the DR. I just couldn't stand looking at his face in the kitchen. I'm like, wow, Betty. Good job. You held on to that for 30 seconds. I just couldn't stand seeing his big, stupid face by me.
But we
Oh my
also
God.
know, too, that Betty doesn't hold it for too long, right? Like, look at I think what happened between her and Kevin was worse. I still laugh at some of those moments where
I hate you.
Kevin's just like, okay, and then I want you to walk around the house and pretend that you hate me. No, I hate you. I do hate you.
No, I actually hate you.
Like, that's hilarious. Seen Moose in bed this week. Come on, Betty, just smile. Like, that's so sweet. We'd never seen a tool like Herman do that. He doesn't care. But he used the right pronouns. So, Moose has a very sweet side to him, which, yeah.
He does, but he also is very much all about Moose. He's very self-centered. I
At
mean,
that
as
age,
is
they
all
are.
males of his age.
Yeah.
Well,
But
Gino
yeah,
really isn't, so maybe not. Gino's not really.
Gino's just shy. In his head, it's all about him. Come on.
Well, if Gino doesn't wake up after this week, I don't know what's going to happen.
Mhm.
So, obviously we know Herman saved himself with that POV, so now he's coming off, and here is Jess's chance again to make a better move, a smarter move, in my opinion, in this game, and Jess decides, I'm going to put up one of my allies.
I think this was kind of, we see Jess talking about some mistakes that she made as a super fan. I think this is where we're starting to see the mistakes start to go down the hill a little bit because, I think Jess really was really thought she was in sync with Kevin. Again, Kevin doing amazing with all of his manipulation really talked her out of Helena. Kevin and Helena, of course, have an alliance, which it's like, what? Who would have put them together? But that's exactly what you want to think, right?
Yeah.
So having Kevin, just talk to everyone. And at that last moment was like, okay, I need your advice, Kevin. Like, what should I do? And he talked her out of it, which was not good for her game. It was good for
Yeah.
Kevin. It shows you how great Kevin is really doing in this game. And when I heard the nominees, I was in shock. It was sad to see Tanisha break down with Gino when she thought she was going up. But then I was like, I could see you breaking down on Gino just for not, getting mustard on your hot dog and breaking down. And Gino, hold me. Hold me.
Hold me, Gino.
Gino, hold me with your big
Um,
muscles.
Mm-hmm. I it's so weird when it comes to Kevin. My issue with Kevin this week, honestly, I can't get past his shoulder hair, and I almost wanted to vomit.
I was like, I'm cold. Come here and warm me up.
Literally has hair growing over his shoulders.
Well, I mean, you groom that. Listen, we most of us have hair on our bodies as men, and we have to groom it. We can't just let it fly around.
Well,
Kevin's one of
apparently
those.
he can.
Well, Kevin's a little more, natural, which is okay. I think Kevin looks better with the skull, with the beard. I think he looks better. I was fine with what I saw. I thought it looked good. He was a cutie.
Okay, if you say
Smart,
so.
cunning. Yeah. That's the
Okay,
kind
if
you marry because he'll take care of you if you want to have his children. Yeah.
uh, oh, I don't know. I feel like I'd have to Velcro things to his freaking.
I
I'd have
would
to
get those
Velcro.
Velcro Nerf balls and I would throw them at his chest and I would make it a naked sex game. Yeah, you could do
Oh
that.
my
It's fun.
god, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. Oh my. Okay, so yes, though, Kevin on a game level, Kevin is doing great. I do have to say, on a game level, Kevin is doing great, obviously. What?
Yes.
You
I'm
love it.
still I'm still imagining me throwing the Nerf balls at Kevin's hairy chest. Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
you
go
play a sex game. No, that's fine, and I will
naked.
imagine. Yeah, I will imagine me putting out a Geno fire. So POV ceremony, we saw Jess I just want to get to the double eviction. We saw
Okay.
Jess, talking to Ty, to Tanisha, all of that. I don't know, maybe he'll go up. Tanisha now feeling blindsided. And then, as we know, going into the eviction, Tanisha being very upset and being like, I think this was the plan from the beginning of the week.
Well, I think, we all know about the paranoia that can arise in the Big Brother house, and I think that's part of what Tanisha's thing is. What I thought was interesting with the talks with Tanisha and the talks with Helena is that, Tanisha was kind of throwing Helena's name at Jess, which was making me nervous because, already what has happened is she did she told Betty what happened, and then Betty stomped off the don't tell them because it's going to recreate something, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it didn't. So Tanisha was throwing Helena. Helena was throwing that. Then Helena's like, you know what? I'm just so sick of these shady people. They just keep talking. It's like, well, you're talking too. So,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
I I do like a Helena. Um, my fear when it comes to Helena is that she's kind of all talk. Like how we saw her in the pantry being like, "Oh, I know what's going on. People think I don't know what's going on, but I know what's going on. And I'm going to go on when I
Yeah.
go on, and no one's going to see me coming when I'm going.
I think
So
she got,
just get ready."
yeah, she caught a little Kyle Moore syndrome, I thought. Like, I know
Just
what's
do it
going
or don't, people. Just do it or don't.
I know
Do
what's going
something,
on and
don't.
I know what's happening.
Don't get me wrong. I appreciate a good
Yeah.
camera talker, but
Yeah.
we're also watching the feeds and you're really kind of struggling to back up what you're saying, so I'm not really buying it so much.
Well, it's just it's too, and like Betty's kind of the same way, but Betty's it's funnier to watch her do it.
Well, that's because Betty just spirals out of control. 100% just spirals out of control. In for no reason. For just
Right.
I'm Betty and I'm spiraling out of
I
control.
really need this. I need to be safe. I really need this, Canada. Like I always have that in my head. It just cracks me up. I'm like, you're the safest person until towards the end.
So
You're Victoria. Yeah.
speaking of your Velcro board, what did you think about Kevin manipulating kind of Gino and JC with his whole revenge talk? Do you feel like that was
Yes.
working?
I think it was working for a future move. I think he,
Okay.
you could see the blank look on Barbie and Ken's face where they're like, it kind of makes sense. Yeah. And I think he was just planting those seeds like, you may not want to realign with Moose again because, God, you guys must have been so embarrassed being left out of that vote. And when Kevin's doing that and talking like that, it actually turns me on. I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm falling in love with him because he's just so good at really sliding in there and just maneuvering himself.
Uh he is, but I don't know that they really bought it that much. I mean, Kevin is very disarming and does not get enough credit.
Mm,
I do like the way Kevin
doesn't.
can just look at you and be like, so like the him and Josh moment
Oh
in
my
the pantry
gosh.
room of come to the
Yeah.
dark side, Josh, and he can just look and Josh can be like, well, do I think with my heart or my head? And
My brain. Yeah.
Kevin's like the snake in the Garden of Evil, and is like, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Come to the dark side.
Well, they were looking. I was like, is there a moment? Are they going to kiss? Like, what's going on here? I didn't realize they were that close. But then, yeah, that was all amazing. And it just shows how many areas Kevin is in as far as people, alliances, and stuff. So he's just playing a
And
really good game.
and people really aren't onto it when it comes that much to Kevin. Like they weren't like in other words, I don't see on the feeds people talking about it as much as they're talking about, let's say, a Summer. I feel
Right.
like Summer isn't as snaky as Kevin is,
Yeah.
but she is in a lot of things as much as Kevin is, but gets talked about as a threat more, in my opinion, than Kevin does.
Yeah. So when you're hearing stuff like in your interview with Kyle, did he mention Kevin? I can't remember. As far as he mentioned Summer, he was hoping for Marty, but I don't
I
think he mentioned.
forget.
I don't think he mentioned Kevin. So, which tells me Kevin is super underestimated, right? The thing
Mm-hmm.
that shocked me was the chain of safety when Summer voted Kevin to be safe. I thought that was really interesting as well. I didn't know really Summer and Kevin were that close to be saved. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Kevin. I worry that, like you said, when the time came for the saving, I don't know. And well, do we want to talk about that? Were you surprised by who any of the people saved for chain of safety?
I was. So we know, of course, we know
Hmm.
that Jess went home.
Right.
Jess, oh, no,
Well, first Tanisha went home.
sorry,
Oh,
yes, Tanisha went home, yes,
and then Kevin and Josh had their talk in the pantry, and then
right.
and then it's time for. Well, actually, I want to get your opinion on one thing first. Then, if we're going in order, I just wanted to jump to my thing, but let's
I
just
had to
go in
look at my
order.
notes. I had to look at my notes.
Um, what did you think of Moose crying? Because a lot of people were annoyed about it and felt it was him making the moment about him when it should have been about Tanisha.
Oh, please, Tanisha, Panisha. It's not all about her. I mean, they were talking about, she really should stay because she's a single mom. But it's like, but then how are you going to win if you're going to hand the game over to Tanisha because she's a single mom? And why would Tanisha want to win a game? And so what? Because I'm a single mom, I deserve it. I think everyone has a chance to deserve it. Tanisha already had a breakdown with Gino on his man peck. So that's good.
Mm.
I think, the votes were so close. We heard Summer talk about, every to JC Lynn, yeah, everyone's going to vote Moose out. And then Summer's like, but I have a feeling it's not going to be like that. Summer's very intuitive. And so I think that kind of caught on with Moose. And I think that once those votes went down, especially when Irissa read the numbers and pauses for that moment, he was in shock. And I think, he really broke down. But I was kind of thinking, okay, settle down there, lady. um you're staying, right? Is this tears of joy? Is this tears of, and I say
And
lady
then
as a joke. It's a joke.
and then to see Tanisha being like, and Jess, for someone, I didn't correct you for 2 weeks, but my name is Tanisha, not Tynisha. And then to have Jess rebut that later on, to kind of say like, yeah, I respect people's names, even their chosen ones. So it was like interesting to me. It almost seemed like Tanisha was purposely trying to make Jess look bad, which I thought was
Mhm.
odd.
Well, I think that she's mad at Jess. Tanisha should not have been up there. It should have been Helena.
It
And I
should have
think,
been.
that, they were an alliance, they were in the sibling alliance. That should have happened. She should not. It was stupid, especially when you go, you don't know when you're going to go into a double eviction. So, if Jess could have had her as a vote, being in an alliance with her,
Mhm.
right? But she blew that alliance up by putting Tanisha on there. And the Harmons, the Mooses she just put up, those people are connected. And Jess has been a big target. So I would have tried to keep as many of my alliances at that point connected and
Right.
secure with me, because if I was Jess, I would want to do that because I've been such a big target so far, right? And I thought that was the first downfall of their moves, was to put Tanisha up. And then we saw Tanisha go off. I thought, oh, am I watching Big Brother US? Because I'm used to the popping off, going off, doing that. And I liked hearing it. And I think her comeback to Jess was really good. Jess is so, wants to make things very clear with name pronunciations, pronouns, and all of that. And I think Tanisha, which I'm probably saying it wrong, just wanted to let her know that. And I thought, as far as digs for someone like Jess, I thought was a great dig. That was
I,
it was executed perfectly. I thought it was, yeah. I was like, oh, good for you. Damn, that was woo. That was a roast.
I mean, I think it was ridiculous to think that the siblings alliance was relevant. I mean, this is what I meant when I said the alliance charts only matter when they matter.
Right.
Do they matter when no one's sticking to them? Not really.
Right. But does it just have a lot of alliances? At least you got a weak alliance, but it's something, right? And I think if you've got such a big target, and now you've got Harmon and Moose after you, do you know what I mean? That's trouble. You want to keep as many people as you
Jess,
can. Yeah.
yeah.
And
I mean,
putting Tynesha up was a downfall, and then of course we saw her go home. Then we learned of this two-part safety. There's no HOH, no veto. Boo! I don't like it.
Well, here's the thing. Number one, I think Jess, and I think this is what everyone should do when playing Big Brother if you find yourself in a Jess position, meaning you're really not in with anyone. It's clear you're an outcast in the house. You know you're probably next to go, but you somehow won power. Jess didn't do themselves any favor by going after just two people that, yes, we're going to be coming after her, whatever. What Jess needed to do was to take two people who would have fought each other. Those two were working together trying to stay. Jess needed to create a conflict in the house.
Mm-hmm.
She needed to force two sides of the house to be in play, to go against each other, to create chaos that she could have hidden in the following week.
Where it would be the 1 week her name would never be mentioned, not just because she's HOH, but because those two would then be fighting and have new conflicts that would bleed over into next week. Absolutely.
Right. Like, she could have put up, say a Betty, and then because what does it matter if you lose Betty? Betty is not being that loyal to you anyway. You could have put up a Betty and been like, Betty, I'm putting you up because the whole house came to me and said they wanted you out. And just let Betty destroy that house for the week. And then you just hide in it.
Yeah, but then Betty's going to say, Jess told me right now in the HOH room that all of you wanted me out. That could backfire.
Well, no, I know. It was just my quick moment example. I would think of a better one if I had unlimited time of the Big Brother house.
Definitely want the house is split. You definitely want to have them both go after each other and try to do it in a way where you can just sit back with some popcorn and eat it. Yep.
So then we find out about the chain of safety. No HOH, no POV. And I just want to say that I was correct. The second that Arissa announced the chain of safety, I said, boy, this sounds a lot like it's going to be Manwan from Celebrity. And it basically was. This is production's new favorite way to get out of having to build sets.
I don't like it.
I mean, I do like it. I wish that they would do more of these types of things in the beginning and in the middle and the end, because it forces people to show where their real alliances are. And but see, I wish they had to do it not in a comp. Because I hate when they do a knockout comp or comps that force people to show where they stand, because usually the majority alliance wins those competitions. I want to see it more where people are forced to show their cards in a game like this that's not necessarily for power. Create that distension amongst the majority alliances and stuff. I mean, it would be a good way to break the game up. If they did that. But anyway, so
I thought the only thing I did like was the chain of safety. I thought it was really interesting who the people chose. Like I was saying earlier, that Summer chose to save Kevin, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I was surprised about that.
I didn't even know they knew each other.
I mean, I did, but I didn't think they were that close. Because essentially people are saying, you are the one person who, for me, cannot leave this week. That is a big statement to make in that house right now.
It's so crazy. So, of course, Moose chose Herman, which did not surprise me. Herman chose Josh. That did not surprise me. But what I didn't know, is that Herman voted for Moose to go home. But then in the chain of safety, Moose votes for Herman to stay. So I wonder if that's going to come out in the next few weeks. Then we saw Josh vote Betty. I think Josh has so many different alliances that, Betty was the safest one, I'm assuming, that's going to give,
Yeah.
Josh the less blood on his hands. Betty choosing Summer made sense to me. Summer choosing Kevin? What?
Yeah.
That didn't make
No.
any sense to me. Kevin choosing Marty but over Helena and possibly
Mm-hmm.
over Jess. And then having Jess go, oh my God, here I am. It's what the school playground again, and I'm getting picked last. Do you know what I mean? Like you got all of that baggage happening. Where Gino and JC Lynn are not in anybody's heads as far as we don't
Now,
care if you go home or not. So I think that talk with Kevin being, hey guys, this is your chance to get revenge. Now they're sitting in the last three with Jess being the biggest target, and Gino and JC Lynn going, huh,
I mean,
nobody picked us.
a lot of people were surprised that Marty did not pick Gino. I was very
Mm-hmm.
shocked that Marty did not pick
Yeah.
Gino. I think he did not because he felt like whatever this competition was, Gino could probably win it. So I have a feeling that's why. I also do agree Kevin didn't want to give away his relationship with Helena. I do agree with that. Destiny said that in Twitch chat. Um,
Yeah.
I just want to
Or
know, is
or
this...
his how close he was with Jess, because Jess has such a big target on their backs every
And
week.
that's also an easy thing to say too. Like, I didn't want to give it away. I didn't want to give us away. Meanwhile, yeah, you
It's
could
a
care
great
less.
one though. Yeah.
So I wonder if this is gonna be a wake up call for Gino and JC. But now I see Courtney says, can we talk about JC beating Gino and Jess in the safety comp? Now here's the thing. It cut out for me here. This is when the show crashed for me. So I only got to come back for the last 2 minute, 1 minute of this comp. I basically made it back just in time to see JC win it. So was this literally you're just finding the blue balls and putting them in the blue tube and the red balls in the red tube?
Exactly. So we saw JC Lynn starting with all the pinks. Then she switched to all the blues. Then we look at
What's so
Gino.
hard about this?
He's starting to do the same thing. Now, Jess was grabbing the balls as they came. Green here, blue here, picking them up here, here, here. What Jess did is there was some of the balls were white, and a couple of the white balls, one got in the blue and one got in the green, but they didn't notice it. So they kept putting more greens on top of that white, more blues on top of that. And then you hear Harmon scream out, they all have to be the same color. Harmon helped Jess out. And then Jess had to look. She had to tilt the thing. All the balls had to slide forward, and Jess had to start over. So Jess was in the lead with the
Yeah.
way they were doing it, but because they had a couple white balls, they had to start over. And so JC Lynn just was super great at that and won the competition.
JC Lynn beat Gino. So I think we understand why I guess they're together, because she's really good at playing with balls.
Oh, I would have done a magnificent in that competition.
Just give me a chance, Gino. Put me in, coach. In, coach.
Yeah, for Josh. Let me scrub in, Josh.
I felt bad for Jess though in that moment. Everybody is over there celebrating and Jess is just kind of off in the background. But I feel it both ways. There is part of me that feels bad for Jess, and there's also part of me that just wants to be like, "Okay, Jess, can you just stop moping and just go and be like, good game, you got me." And or be mad, or be like, damn it, I can't believe, some other emotion other than I'm just gonna stand here and wah wah, ma ma.
Well, I knew when JC Lynn won and Jess was going to be on the block with Gino, I knew Jess was going home.
Well, that was so stupid.
yeah, like I knew it was such an easy vote, which why I was shocked that, Marty voted for Gino and
Yes.
Nina voted for Gino. It's like when you don't know and you haven't had a chance to do your alliance, go think back of who's been the biggest target that's still there. And that's who's on the block. It should have been unanimous for Jess, and I think for her, Helena and Marty, it's going to be trouble with their votes.
Well,
But
we saw.
Canada likes to admit it. Hey, I did it. I don't want to make it confuse anybody. So I don't know what that's going to be like for their game, but it should have been unanimous. Jess, it just went home.
I mean, first of all, these people are so dumb. The fact that you're keeping a Gino in the house over a Jess, why would you take someone out who is on an island by themselves just purely for strategy? Someone who is a target for the entire house. Let's take out the fact if we think Gino can win more physical comps. You at least know that Gino has a built-in second vote in JC right there. You're leaving a strong
Oh yeah,
dual vote person in the house to get rid of a irrelevant to the house in their mind, irrelevant
yeah.
to the game, can't do anything. It makes no sense if you're trying to win on a game standpoint. That being said, thank you, house guests. Don't you dare take my Gino.
No, you're absolutely right. It's what, week 4. You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
get rid of your shields. Herman voted with emotion. So did Moose. It's like, who do you think people are going to target next? Are you stupid? He, hims. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So
Yeah.
definitely stupid. But
Yeah. I mean, there was
voted
rumors
with
on the
heart and
live.
not logic.
There was rumors on the live feed that Jess wanted to self-evict. There are people that said, did Jess put the white ball in on purpose so that she could leave and be done? I would be interested to hear what you all think in the comments below. If you're
Did you
watching
ask
this
her? Did you
on
ask
YouTube.
them?
Well, we are not allowed to ask them anything in these exit interviews which was not shown on the television show
Gotcha.
specifically. And, I feel like that's a good one to ask Jess when they come on at the end of the season. I think everyone knows that we have the house guests come on here for an hour. You guys get to ask all of your questions to them in real time. I feel like that's when we can ask those types of questions. We can't really ask that, with PR and
Yeah.
everyone being on the call.
No, absolutely. And I think, hearing Jess's exit interview, I think they really understood they didn't have a great social game. It doesn't mean I don't think they're not a social person, but I just think Jess gets caught up in so much of the right pronouns, so much of the, binary, the sexual orientation, where it's just like, what, we all, it needs to be diverse, and we all have our differences, but we're not in a classroom, right? Okay, we understand where you're coming from, but then we all have to talk and talk about different things, the game, with all of our differences, right? And I just don't think Jess really got past that. I just think when they went into a room and they were there, they were just going to
Yeah, I mean, we saw it
learn
several
more.
times.
Right.
We saw several times Jess remove herself from a room when people would come in, and it
Yeah.
didn't seem that Jess was trying to necessarily build
Well,
relationships. And yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
Jess surrounds themselves with very, very like-minded people, but
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have maybe enough of the outside differences in people to kind of mix in, right? Like,
Right.
when we're cooking something, we want different spices for different flavors. Do you know what
Right.
I mean? And I just think that would be my advice. It just didn't seem like they got along, but maybe let some different types of people into your circle
Right.
a little bit. I have a friend who changed changed their name to River and was going by the they them pronoun. And when I'm with them, it isn't all about their sexuality and their pronoun. Like, we all just sit there and have fun and stuff. And you know, it doesn't feel like I'm getting a TED talk type of thing. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah. So
I
I
would
think
like to. Here's what I would like to do, John Richardson. I would like to give a TED talk right now, and I would like
okay,
to because I want to get to spoilers. So here's my TED talk before
okay.
spoilers. Okay, it
Good. But I
is.
love Jess. I love Jess.
We, of course, love Jess. And we also love when you guys follow, like, and subscribe before you leave this show. It is a great way to help support, as I always say. And, of course, sharing the show, putting it in your favorite Facebook groups, or telling a friend. All of those things that you guys do to support the shows, we really, really appreciate it. It is what keeps them going. So if this is where you're getting off because you don't want to hear a spoiler or two, we will see you all on the next show. And that being said, Comedy Jonah, do you know who won HOH?
JC Lynn.
Nope.
Josh.
No, but it starts with a J.
My mind's blank. Starts with a J.
Yup.
I said JC Lynn.
And I said no.
But it's not Josh. It's not. Who else is in the J?
Would you like me to tell you?
Yes.
Jess! Jess had a secret battle comp and is back in the house.
You're such a liar.
April Fools.
It's awful, awful April Fools.
I know. I just thought it was April Fools for a minute and figured I'd have to do something. Cry.
Well, we already talked about you
no.
interviewing them, so I'm like, well, they're already out of the house. How did they do a battle back?
It's Marty, by the way.
Oh, good.
No, I believe that. That's the way that octave. You're like, oh, great.
I want it to be Betty. Now I want it to be Betty.
Great.
I would love to see a Betty HOH. Can you imagine the chaos?
And we need it now. We need a Betty HOH where there is a lot of people in the house for Betty to piss off.
Yes.
I want massive Betty casualties in a Betty HOH. So yes, I would love that. But yeah, so Marty is currently the HOH.
Good for Marty. I like Marty. I think he's playing an honest game.
You do? What if he targets Josh?
Oh, don't go after my Joshy. I'll have to scrub in. I'll have to do the Harmon and become a tool.
You'll have to do the yeah. I'm happy. I think Marty's building a resume. Good for Marty. I think Kevin did great saving Marty this past week. I think that's going to go a long way. Kevin is integrating himself further into the game now. It'll be interesting to see what Marty actually does when he solidifies his knobs.
Yes. Who should he go for? If you were playing Marty's game, who would you think about as far as your nominations?
I would probably oh boy. Well, I guess putting up Gino is kind of a quote-unquote safer way to go since he put him up. But I know that he is super threatened by Josh. I have a feeling his goal is going to be to get Josh out.
I think for his game, he should go towards Josh. Gino and JC Lynn are on an island. Marty should really try to get back into the fold with them a little bit, I think. He's kind of in the fold with Kevin. And I think bringing in JC, Lynn, and Gino and kind of doing something. Who else is Marty aligned with?
And I mean, they have the Seven Alliance. I mean, the problem, all of these people, doesn't matter who they're aligned with, because who they're aligned with is irrelevant once a different
Yeah.
person gets in power.
Yeah.
They are
I
not loyal to their alliances.
If I was Marty, I'd probably go for a Josh and Summer on the block, because Summer would campaign extra hard to keep Josh, but if she's on the block, she's got to worry about herself. So that would counteract that. And
I think Josh will be the one going up. However, I hope the tradition of this season reigns true, and we have seen every single week an HO nominee win POV and pull themselves off. So go ahead, nominate Josh, and then I hope we get some super hot Josh competition that he's going to win.
Like, have to oil yourself up and slip and slide down, the
Unless
backyard.
that means then we get Gino on the block. I don't know.
Gino
It'll be
should
interesting.
be house guest choice. Because Gino's your choice. It would be house guest choice where we just have to and then we could get Kevin too with all that glistening hair.
Ew, he could put up Summer and Betty. I agree with that. He could put up Summer, Betty, backdoor Josh.
But isn't it kind of a waste of an HOH if you're going after a Betty? I think a Josh and a Summer. I think anything but with Summer, because Summer is going, and she's been doing good. I think every time she's campaigned, she's maybe lost one campaign, which was Tynesha. But everybody else, Summer's been in people's ear, and she's kind of gotten the votes for that person that she wants to stay. So Summer's a big threat. If he wants to put up some big threats, Josh and Summer is who he should put up for his game.
Well, we will see if you guys want to follow all of what is happening on the live feeds. Make sure you follow our live feed updaters at BB Live Updaters over on Twitter.
Yes.
Of course, I am live every single night doing hangout shows, but of course, we talk a little bit of Big Brother during them.
Yep, and I got some shout outs for Jermaine King in our YouTube chat. Jermaine, thank you so much for the lovely tip. He says, I haven't watched any of BB Can 10 this season. Okay. I just wanted to say I love you both. You both bust your butts to always put on an amazing show. Mwah. From my lips to my butt, Jermaine. Thank you so much. And ZZ and Debbie Dawn and Debbie and Billy. Thank you so much for watching. We love you guys.
Thank you, Michelle. I see Michelle was gifting people subs over in the Twitch chat. So thank you for that. Thank you for everyone watching and the top fans and you now, as long as that was up. We will see you guys all the next show, which for me will be later tonight for a hangout, and then later tonight again for a Twitch show. You need to get John to come and play some Twitch with us.
I'm going to be making Indian tacos on behalf of Jay, who was evicted a few weeks ago, and Josh, my indigenous brothers. And sisters and thems. So yeah, I've already got my dough settling in. Got my dough.
Now, when are you doing that? You're doing that tonight? At what time in the patron group?
Tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, 8 p.m. Eastern patrons, go hang out with Comedy Jonah for a cooking show in the patron group. And of course, check out the interview with Jess and Tanisha now as well. Until our next show, which will be in a little bit, we will see you guys later. Bye for now, everybody. Bye, friends.